Hey guys, ADP here again for another trial run. Tonight we're doing something a bit different. We're actually going to be doing a trial run on Titanfall, well, technically the Titanfall Beta that was running last week. We're gonna be talking over some pre-recorded gameplay footage for a couple of different reasons. One, because, hey, the beta's over, and two, it's a lot easier to talk and not play than it is to talk and play, at least if you want to do anything meaningful. So anyway, jumping right into this, we're going to play a match of hardpoint domination, I guess, on each of the two maps that was available in the beta, and just kind of give you an idea of how I play this game. And this game is kind of fucking awesome, I think, is the short version.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. It's very fast-paced from what I can see.
Incredibly fast-paced. Specifically more towards the pilot end of things. Of course, you're either a pilot or you're in a Titan, which is...
So, on foot or in a giant fucking badass mech.
Yeah. Although I don't really consider the mechs to be that badass. They're awesome, but I don't use them very much.
Well, and that's definitely evident in this video. But
yeah, because I don't think I'm ever in a mech. I'm on lots of mechs.
Yeah, you're definitely on mechs. But you're never in one, which is fine. Because it really demonstrates the mobility that you have in this game. It is a very, very fast game.
Yeah, it really is, and that is exactly what I like about this game, almost above all else. It should be noted, hey, I'm Alex. I'm the one that's actually playing.
I'm Thompson. I'm looking at cool stuff.
And I'm Drader, and I like some video games.
Yeah.
Special guest!
You'll not have seen Drader in these before, but that's okay. You still technically haven't.
Not yet, anyways.
One day, maybe.
Yeah, we've been meaning to get you on a podcast to talk about PlanetSide.
So is this some sort of futuristic, post-apocalyptic game? Or is it
future, yes.
futuristic?
Apocalypse, no.
Okay.
The story, such as it is, and this is not... there really isn't much of one. It's basically you've got the IMC, which is a interstellar mining corporation. I don't know if that's exactly what it stands for. That's basically what it is, though.
Okay.
And then you've got the militia, which are militia.
Okay.
And basically, it is the most basic. Ooh, there's my Mac. The most basic setup for, why two guys could be shooting each other possible. They don't really go into any detail. Certainly not in the beta.
Yeah.
There's supposedly, basically how it's going to be devised is it's multiplayer only. But there is going to be some kind of story campaign tied into the multiplayer narrative.
Like a meta story or something?
I don't know. Basically, there's going to be some kind of line or some kind of order in which you can play the maps that will tell some kind of story.
Okay.
Needless to say, if this gameplay footage is any demonstration, I'm mostly just here to shoot people.
So
yeah.
Just out of curiosity
Yeah.
here, sorry, I noticed there's
ask
a lot
questions.
there seems to be a lot of jet packing around and sticking to walls. What is that?
That is basically... The pilots are equipped with, jump packs. It lets you double jump, it lets you wall run. It's kind of what distinguishes his... That's a word. Distinguishes...
It is now.
Distinguishes the pilots from the Titans, and really this game from most other first-person shooters, in that it's really based in three dimensions. I mean, Call of Duty, which we've both played to some degree, is kind of flat. You're running along the ground and you're shooting people who are also on the ground. Maybe they're in a building, but that's really on the ground but slightly higher up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whereas in this game, you're pretty much all over the place. You are a parkour machine.
Yeah, you really are. And this game is really based upon verticality.
So is there only really the mechs and the pilots, or are there different classes, kind of like Battlefield?
No. There's different loadouts similar to Call of Duty where you can basically select a primary, secondary, and in this case an anti-Titan weapon.
Okay.
But there is no distinct class. Well, sorry. There is, quote-unquote, but, that's I'm so low level that they haven't allowed me to hit the create a class function yet.
Okay, all right.
I guess, that was one of those things prevented from the beta.
Well, no, actually, no, it is totally... It's just you need to be, level 6 or something before you're allowed to create your own classes. Your own pilot classes, rather than running with their defaults. But that's Yeah, no.
But once again, like in Call of Duty, you would just make your own anyway and
yeah.
just run with whatever loadouts that work for you.
Yeah, and that's what I'm doing here. You can see I'm running with a shotgun.
And you're doing some pretty damn good damage with it.
Yeah, no, the shotgun is a weapon that really kind of capitalizes on a pilot's mobility. It lets, if you're good, and you know how to wall run, and you know how to jump, and you know how to dodge and weave and bob, you can get up close really fast, which is kind of where shotguns excel.
And then jump on top of...
Jump on top of mechs.
I was just gonna say that was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that I love about this game, is that there's just so much going on, like jumping on a mech and jumping through the air and jumping on a wall and...
Yeah, basically, there's two things about that. One kind of from a larger gameplay perspective, and the second just from a personal perspective is, one, you're always moving, you're always busy. You're never not doing something, which is something I really enjoy in this game. You're never bored. That being said, the second thing is the speed and the fluidity of it is kind of there's a real quote unquote personal narrative to it. Basically you can. There's constantly a story going on. There's constantly something to be doing, rather than Battlefield where, God damn it, I've been out in the boonies for 3 months and I haven't seen anybody.
Yeah.
Which is kind of my biggest problem with Battlefield, is that the maps are just too big relative to what I want.
Yeah.
And that's less of a problem in, say, Ghosts or Call of Duty, rather, but there you just run into the problem of it's full of 14-year-olds and
screaming and swearing.
And
racist comments.
Yeah, which in and of itself is, whatever. But I still think I should have got that guy.
Yeah, you should have.
So is this sort of the type of game that you've got on Call of Duty where you can be... It's got the intervals where you start a new game, like this is one game here.
Yeah.
The game ends in 20 minutes or
15 minutes I think
kills.
is usual. This one's in the beta, at least. There was 3 different game modes. There was Last Titan Standing, where everybody starts in a Titan, and then the team that has basically whoever loses all their Titans first loses.
Okay.
The second one is this, which is Hardpoint Domination, which is your domination. You got 3 points. Holding the points gives you points, because that's a good phrase.
It'll work for this purpose.
Yeah. And then after you reach 400, whoever gets to 400 first wins.
Okay.
And then you've just got straight TDM.
Okay. Do you have any gameplay of you playing as one of the mechs as well, or are you just the pilot the entire time?
I am just a pilot. I actually, if we rewound, you'll actually realize I was the first one on this map to get a Titan. Got the first to fall bonus, but I never at any point get in my mech. I really don't like being in the mechs relative to being on foot.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Just because you move so fast.
Yeah, and I'm quite frankly, if you consider the mechs as being the means by which you engage other mechs, I usually don't consider them to be a threat. They're usually too busy duking it out amongst themselves, and B, if I need to kill a Titan, I'll just jump on the damn thing.
Yeah. Well, I noticed that they're doing some like hand-to-hand combat, or
they basically have a melee. They're... Again, without footage of this, it's kind of just words, but the Titans have primary and secondaries. The primaries are basically just like that missile barrage you just saw. It's just a secondary weapon beyond their big gun, and that shield you just saw there is slightly different. It's their secondary ability. Basically, what it does is let you catch projectiles and reflect them after a certain period of time.
Okay.
So, just judging by the play that's happened so far, the mechs look fairly useless. The pilots look a lot more mobile. They look like they can just jump on you and take you out with nothing. What are some of the benefits to being a mech?
The mechs in this case are... I like to think I'm slightly above average in terms of skill.
Okay. Right.
I would agree.
I would hope so, yeah. Or that. Or
so, I personally don't find the mechs to be too much of a challenge. That being said, I think that as time goes on, once the game is actually out and people learn how to play properly, the mechs themselves are going to be something you will see roaming in packs. Because 2 mechs supporting each other is probably more than twice as effective as a mech simply by itself.
Okay.
Just because if they're paying attention, they can actually kill guys doing what I do, which is jumping on top of them.
Oh, okay.
I've ran into pilots that are running mechs in tandem, and those guys are really annoying because you jump on one, the other one bats you off. And at which point you need to fall back on either running around trying to shoot them down with your anti-Titan weapon, which is just kind of a rocket launcher or a grenade launcher as a pilot. And also that guy's head just got turned around.
quite gruesomely.
Okay, so it's almost like pulling a tank in PlanetSide or in Battlefield, where one tank, if you're with a whole mess of other people, one tank's not going to be that effective, whereas if you have a couple or a few of them, it's probably a lot more.
Very much so. You can kind of get away with running around by yourself as a pilot, but it really is much more effective to operate as a team in mechs. Least of all because, unlike players, they don't regenerate health.
Okay.
So it's got the usual... this part. This is the dropship. The dropship is what shows up after you lose a round and you need to get to it. Except... that can happen.
Somebody shut it down.
Basically, the losing side in a match gets what they have to, in the epilogue section, which is basically the last portion of the game. What happens is the losing side needs to get to the dropship, which shows up at a random location somewhere on the map, and you get bonus points effectively if you manage to A, make it to the dropship, and B, have the dropship escape. XP, I should say.
Okay, alright. So just judging by the scoreboard here, it looks like you may or may not be a little bit above average as opposed to the other people.
Yeah. Possibly? Wow. I am half decent at first-person shooters. And so, yeah, the mechs are, needless to say, slightly more effective than I made them look.
Yeah, hey, it's a mech. Let me just jump on him and blow his brains out. Yeah. Open the cover and blow his brains out.
This is definitely partially because a lot of people this being the beta, nobody really knew what they were doing yet.
Yeah.
So
the advanced strategies haven't come through.
Yeah. So anyway, end game, there's challenges. Challenges get you XP. There's a crap ton of them.
And then there was burn cards, which I noticed there for a moment.
Yeah, unfortunately, I guess we're not going to be showing any of the menu stuff, but basically what burn cards are is single-use items. And by single-use, I mean not once per match or, once per, round. It's once per life. You get 3 of them, or by the time level 14 rolls around, you have 3 slots. And once per life, you can select a burn card and spawn in with it, which basically, gets you, in this case, I'm running with a slightly increased, more powerful shotgun. It's fully automatic relative to the semi-automatic before. Or things like the oral sweeper, which...
it sounds kinky. Sorry.
AUR.
Not oral as in...
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Audio.
Yeah, the other oral. Yeah.
Which basically allows you to see guys through walls. It pulses periodically and it paints. And it paints everybody through walls, including the NPC grunts, your teammates, and enemies. So it kind of... there's a bit of sensory overload if you're not good at parsing it, but it's still useful as hell if you need to watch a guy coming upstairs and then shoot him in the head.
Mm-hmm.
Which you do in many first-person shooters.
Yes, every now and then. Of course, in this case, you also have to worry about guys going through windows and shooting them in the head, which is slightly more difficult.
And the roof, and pretty much everywhere. So one thing I noticed as well is there were grunts?
Yes. There's much to explain and not enough time to do it in. Basically, what there are is... The human player limit is 6 on 6. That's true across 360, Xbox One, and PC. That being said, the the game has what are basically NPC mobs or creeps if you're playing a MOBA, which, while not being particularly effective as killers of men, are great sources of basically farming, because each kill decreases the time it takes to call your next Titan. That's true of players, that's true of the NPC grunts. So what that means is you can farm them effectively to let's shoot some dudes to decrease the time before you get your next Titan. If you can catch that little thing, you'll actually see that killing a human player decreases it by a substantial amount, like 20 or 30 seconds.
Whereas a grunt, not
is
so much.
like 5.
Oh, okay. But I mean, still useful. I mean,
yeah. Well, considering you can easily kill twice as many grunts as you will human players.
Yeah.
Probably more so for your average player. Then yeah, they are a great means by which you can. In a lot of ways, it's psychological because it makes you feel like you're still accomplishing something, even if you're basically killing something that doesn't matter. But you know what? Somebody has to kill them.
And can they capture points?
No, they are not quite cosmetic, but pretty damn close.
Yep.
Because I think in about 20 hours of playing the beta, they killed me twice, maybe 3 times, in all situations where I had been severely damaged while engaging another player, and
They just finished the job.
Yeah. They shot me once or they punched me once, and that was enough to end my spree, as it were.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it was my Titan. And I once again don't get in.
What are these invisible guys running around?
Basically,
like a different class than the.
Yeah, after a fashion. What they have is, in the beta at least, there was 2 active abilities a pilot could have. The first being the cloak, which you've seen a couple of different times here, which is predominantly meant as an anti-Titan measure. It's the canon or the in-game explanation for how it works is it's more effective at fooling the
Titans,
the Titan optics than it is the players. Okay. So it renders you nearly perfectly invisible to a Titan,
gotcha.
Whereas it's only semi-transparent to a human.
Yeah.
That's if you look it down on the left next to the score, you'll just see Q. That is your pilot ability. What I'm actually using is an increased speed boost. It's kind of like Uber Sprint. So for 30 seconds, or not even 30 seconds, for 5 seconds or whatever, you just move twice as fast as you normally would, which is useful if you're doing what I do and being uber mobile.
Especially with your gameplay, I've noticed there's a lot. There's very little staying in one spot.
Yeah,
you're not kind of got to creep around. You're just sprinting around and catching people off guard.
Yeah, basically. You will notice usually at the end of a round, in hardpoint domination, there's 2 measures of score, which is assault and defend, which is basically the amount of points you earned, taking and holding points. And I'm usually top of the scoreboard for assaulting.
So, just out of curiosity here, when you jump on that Titan's back and you open up his life case, is he basically helpless by himself when you're sitting on his back and shooting him in the back of the head with a shotgun?
Similar to how pilots have the ability to sprint or cloak, Titans have the ability to have that vortex shield we mentioned last map, or something. Basically, they can emit an electric fog.
Okay.
A fog and then electrify, which is basically their sole means, at least as far as the beta goes, for dealing with a pilot that's rodeoing them. The other option, but yeah, as far as single Titan. As far as means by which a pilot can deal with somebody riding their Titan without help from anybody else, they either need to have that electric cloud or they need to get out and shoot the pilot themselves.
Okay.
You'll notice a couple different times when I rodeo, I'll just inexplicably jump off.
Okay, yeah.
What that is because is the pilot popped the hatch and came out to try and shoot me.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like, it's basically like jumping in a tank. You can just leave them in the middle of the road and jump out into a building?
Yes. However, that actually is an excellent means by which I can relay this information. Unlike something like PlanetSide or Battlefield, where unless you're... Oh, there's that fog I mentioned, and that's why I jumped off immediately. Unless you're... There's the guy. Unless... Sorry, I'm...
The one-man army here.
Enthralled by watching myself play. Unlike, I should say, Battlefield or...
any vehicle-based...
Yeah, most vehicle-based first-person shooters. Unless... Not... Let's see if I can actually phrase this in proper English.
You can do this. I believe in you.
There is AI in the Titans. Unlike a tank where it's just a tank if you get out of it, the Titans are actually programmed to allow a pilot to operate independently of them while still having some degree of combat effectiveness.
Okay, so it'll still run around and attempt to shoot
there's actually two different modes. The first is guard mode, where it sits at a location and attempts to engage any pilots, grunts, or other Titans that come by.
Okay.
And the second is follow mode, where it attempts to, quite effectively try and follow you through your, mad wall runs and building hopping. I mean, it doesn't leave the ground. They can't. They are road bound. That the most they can do is dash horizontally along the ground. But it is actually fairly effective, at least on these two maps, at getting relatively close to where you are, as close as it can get. So sometimes that means what you can do is take your Titan to a point, jump out, capture the point, and have it, watch.
Kind of guard you, watch your back while you're doing it.
Guard your back outside the building.
That's pretty sweet.
And then at which point, assuming it's still alive, you can then just jump back in and ride off to the next point. Or you can have it, something I do fairly often is have it, this is one of the few points, for example, where a Titan can actually capture it by itself if the building's big enough to allow it.
Okay.
So you can actually, I often bring my Titan inside and then just leave it in guard mode inside this building.
Yep. So can the AI capture?
No, you need a human pilot involved in the capture, and likewise, you need more. If it's a contested point, you need more than they have.
Of course. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, it was just, if you can leave it in guard mode and just have it in there, that'd be kind of...
well, you can, but they can capture it out from under you, that.
If you capture it and leave it there, and you get it to kind of guard it, it's probably not the most...
it's better
if you've
than
got
nothing.
A decent player. Yeah, no, that's true. Will it accidentally shoot you in the ass if it's trying to shoot somebody else?
I've never been killed by my own Titan. I've been killed by a few different auto Titans. Most dangerous is probably if they just step on you, because they're not the most accurate things in the world.
And they're also 2 stories tall.
They are also 2 stories tall, but I don't think it ever happened to this, but sometimes you just miss that jump. And sometimes instead of, getting on their shoulders, you get into their waist, at which points they just kind of mush you. They turn you into a small red mist.
Okay.
Yeah. So, again, rodeoing Titans isn't even necessarily quite as easy as I make it look, because unless you get that jump right, they tend to just kill you.
And squish you.
And squish you.
Like a bug.
Like a bug. I don't know. Actually, here we'll actually allow you to see the epilogue, as they call it, from
the other side,
the victor's standpoint, where instead of trying to get to the dropship, we're actually trying to stop the other players from doing so. Again, you saw the one means by which you can do that last time, where you just shoot the bloody thing down. But unless you've got 3 or 4 Titans all shooting at the same time, that's actually not very easy. They have a lot of health.
Okay.
The other main thing, my preferred method, just shoot everybody.
Shoot them in the face.
So there's basically challenges for taking out survivors on the loser side, as well as getting to your dropship on the loser side.
You don't the pilots themselves aren't worth anything more than they would be normally, but if you prevent their entire team, you get a bonus.
Okay.
If you shoot down the dropship, you get a bonus.
So what do they get for making it in the dropship? They get extra experience?
Extra experience. Okay. One set of extra experience for getting to the dropship, the second for successfully escaping in the dropship. And yeah.
Mr. Overlord there, he was catching up to you. Still not on your level, but a lot better than batting 500 like everybody else was.
Yeah, well, they're not all terrible.
You're also pretty damn good.
This in a lot of ways, this is geared almost specifically towards my preferred play style, which is just fast-paced ground combat. I don't like quite as much the methodicalness of a Battlefield game, where the maps are wide open and it's real easy to just sit on top of a building with a sniper rifle and shoot dudes all day long until, they get a jet and finally take you out. But that being said, the almost inbred
Packet sniffer.
Yeah. The degradation that the Call of Duty franchise has been experiencing over the past couple iterations has also been something I don't really, like all that much. So this is very much what I consider to be probably the next big first-person shooter, multiplayer first-person shooter as far as I'm concerned.
Cool.
This strikes me a lot more of just a run and gun as opposed to a like a Call of Duty where it's more tactical.
That being said, the last one you really played was Modern Warfare 1, so Call of Duty 4. So, in all honesty, it has fallen more into a similar vein to this. Not quite as successful, not quite as kind of polished, or, that being said, as I feel, as fluid or as... In a lot of ways, it is Call of Duty with mechs, but it's a good Call of Duty rather than something like Ghosts, which is a bad Call of Duty. In all honesty, this is something I consider to be a really good first-person shooter. I really enjoyed my time with the beta. I'm definitely going to play it. I'm definitely going to put probably 20 or 40 or 100 hours into this once it releases on March 11th.
Huh. It looks like a good time.
Yeah, it really is.
EA.
Yeah, I know you don't like EA. In all honesty, I don't like EA either, but all I can say is they're not handling the servers, which is probably the biggest gripe people have had with them lately.
No kidding.
It's all taking place on the Microsoft Azure.
Cool.
So that being said,
that was Titanfall.
That is Titanfall. Cool. It's coming out March 11th, like I said. Respawn Entertainment, all the ex-Infinity War guys, who you will know as the creators of the original Modern Warfare Drader. So that's, actually, it's got a good pedigree, and being published by EA, but we won't talk about that.
Not today.
But yeah, again, thanks folks. This has been the Titanfall trial run.
Woo.
Thanks for joining us.
See you guys.
Okay, bye.